Well, it looks like we're going to have our first guest of the evening. We wanted to bring in two-time NBA All-Star Baron Davis, who joins us. Baron, you there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How's it going?
Good. Can you see me?
Yeah,
Now
see.
I can see you.
Hey, what up?
How's my lighting?
Your lighting is good. You know what you make it better if you turn your phone over. Yeah, that's it. Boom.
Like that?
And we perfect.
Now it'd probably be better if I take my hand out the way. Hold on, let me get you some good lighting, man.
Now you good. You're good. Perfect right there.
I know I'm messing up y'all's show, but
No, it's all good, Baron. You've obviously gone to the Edgar Burgos School of Technology, it looks like. We've had a bunch of tech problems so far, so kind of fits in with the theme of the evening.
What's up, Bobby? What's happening?
Not much, man. I'm very excited to have you on the show. I mean, it feels just like yesterday that you were playing with the Knicks. They could still use a point guard, my friend. So if you're ready to get back into things, we could use you.
Hey, man, I could use a fucking shot. I tell you that.
Hey, Barry,
give me a shot. Shit.
Yo, me and Bobby were just talking about LeBron and MJ are the greatest player of all time, and I was saying LeBron is becoming the greatest player of all time, and we just want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I don't think it's the greatest player of all time when you really think about it. It's just whoever everybody, when you think about, you can't undermine what Kareem did. You can't undermine what Russell did. You can't undermine what Bird did. Eddie got hurt. You can't undermine what Magic did. Isaiah, you know what I mean? Kobe, Shaq, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of dudes that's got multiples, you know what I mean? But, when you look at a LeBron, I think what separates LeBron apart from everybody else is just everything. Holistically, overall, what he do in the community, his investments, his leadership, his spirit, his integrity, and how he's kind of championing this next generation, to be businessmen, and not only that, he's managed to do all that, right? Build his thing in real life, never do nothing wrong, you know what I mean? And, get himself, 4 or 5 championships along the way. So, when we watch Jordan and all the hype and all that, Jordan was one of the greatest to ever touch the rock. I think LeBron is one of the greatest to ever touch the rock. You know what I mean? And so I don't really compare, GOATs and things like that.
You're actually one of the few players that actually played against both. So how's that feel?
Oh, man, it feels good. You know what I mean? Stories I can tell my kids, you know what I mean? I ain't got to lie to my kids and say, like, I didn't do what I did. But, it's like, hey man, I have my moments against some of the greatest of all time. And, I just respect, them and the fact that, I had an opportunity to just play in the league and, who gets a chance to play against Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Wade, all these dudes, and, live and be able to tell those stories. And so now I can share those stories with my kids. And, it's a great opportunity.
Baron, one time Allen Iverson said you were the toughest player that he ever had to defend. That's a pretty good compliment coming from another great player. Is he or one of these guys we just mentioned the best player that you ever played against?
I mean, dude, when you think about AI, you got Kobe, you got LeBron, you got Wade. All these dudes are great. You know what I mean? Allen Iverson, one of the best to ever touched the rock. It's like, for me, it's just, and then you think about just all the other great players in our era that probably just don't get a lot of credit, but were, phenomenal players and phenomenal point guards and shooting guards. And, it was just a whole energy, man. And I think our era was an era that, had a lot of talent, you know what I mean? A lot of talent and depth at a lot of positions. And, And through in my generation, we got to touch a lot of great players and see a lot of great players touch the court. Like I've never seen it. It's like Shaquille O'Neal is a one-on-one, Kobe one-on-one. It's all these dudes, a lot of dudes that are just one-on-ones. You know what I mean? And it's hard to just like once you get to marveling, like especially for me, it's like I just get to marveling in their greatness and how good and how dope they are.
Yeah, you was a great player yourself, and obviously me and you got cool towards the end of your career. Can you talk about you being a trendsetter? Because I mean, you say I say Barry Davis. Me and you have sat down. We were in London. You shared a lot of great stories with me, and you was a fan favorite. You was an all-star, and you was on that We Believe team. How did it feel to be a trendsetter?
For me, it's just like you just do stuff that you feel need to be done. I think on the other side of being a trendsetter is somebody who was disruptive, somebody who was combative. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like there are walls, invisible walls that need to be broken. You know what I mean? And we got to do a job of like making sure that culture connect to this shit because these kids can't afford it. You know what I mean? They can't afford to come to the games. So I mean, for me, it was just always trying to think about the next generation, others, the young hoopers out there, and also think about what the players wanted. And so for me, it was really being a voice of players and what they were feeling, and I was just bold enough to say it.
Baron, now that you've had some time to reflect a little bit more about your NBA career, do you often think about maybe the fact that injuries robbed you from so many opportunities to maybe have even more great moments?
I think at this point it is what it is. I think if you look at the injuries and look at what I was able to accomplish despite all the injuries. You know what I mean? I think I did had a pretty damn good run. I wasn't thinking about it when it was happening, but I appreciate my time. I do think that had I not gotten hurt, this and that, but it was almost hard to imagine ever being healthy. In my entire career, it was just always something and always coming back early and always playing hurt. And so, I think that's why fans fuck with me. You know what I mean? That's why people fuck with me because they know, when I was out there, I gave my heart and soul. And if I didn't, then something was wrong. And, that was the case, when I played in Los Angeles for the Clippers. So, people knew I played with my heart. And if I wasn't playing with my heart, then something was wrong.
Now, one of the things that I definitely want to talk about and dive in is, while you was playing, when did you start talking about like building not only your brand but building a business?
For me, fortunately and unfortunately, that happened when I was 21, when I decided to like step out, become my own agent, and represent myself, and then start to like build my own team. With my homies at the time, like a real life entourage. So, I just say that being independent early in the game really forced me to like focus my attention on, who am I and who do I want to be life after basketball. And, do I do it now or do I wait? And at the time, just for me, it was just like do it now because be able to, just have the career that you want to have. So make sure you set all your set all your intentions and set all your goals in the right direction. So when basketball is done, you don't have to rely on basketball, to satisfy yourself or have confidence, to wake up every morning and feel motivated to do something.
So one of the things like, which is kind of cool, like you said, you started at a young age at 21, and you see a guy like LeBron who pretty much almost did the same thing at that age. Were there any? Do you wish that you started later doing that, or you happy that you started at your age? And then you folks see what LeBron is doing. How do you coincide what LeBron did to what you did, back then?
I think it's very similar. I would say for me, you know, uh, everybody watches everybody, and so I think what LeBron is doing, I commend him because he did it. You know what I mean? And the way that they did it, they took their time. You know what I'm saying? And I have no regrets because we were successful doing it. I was successful doing it, and had I had the opportunity to do it over again, there would definitely be some things that I would do differently. You know what I mean? But I just think that for me, it was I needed to move on into different things. You know what I mean? I need to make movies. I need to do other things. And so, I think all of my guys are in, incredible positions, NBA coaches, agents, things like that, producers, and so I have no regrets because they're all on, they're in the game, they're working for teams, they're in this NBA life and NBA system. And that was my intentions, right? My intentions early on, and Edgar, my intentions is to really just be a vehicle and like to collaborate and figure out how can I move somebody up the chain and up the pipeline. And I would say now, I've kind of figured out, how to make that, a model, right, and a system that works for entrepreneurs, for creators, for former athletes, and really just, building out. A system of trust, right? It's the same thing. You play with your heart, you lead with your heart. But for me, it's just entrepreneurs come, great opportunities, great investments come, great IP comes, and we're able to, you know, take these relationships that have been materialized over 20 years and turn them into real productions, right, or real products. And so that's been the beauty of where I am now is I've had an opportunity to learn, from, doing it with my homeboys to, doing it with other people. Uh,
I think we lost you for a sec, sound wise at least.
Hello?
I think we lost Baron.
You must have had a
Sound wise. Hopefully he comes back. That was a good thought.
I think we had a call.
Well, we're definitely excited to continue our conversation with Baron Davis. There he is.
yeah,
Baron, you still with us?
my phone keep ringing off the hook, man. We gonna have to.
So Baron,
Go, man.
like you got two things. You got two great things going on. You got a show on Hulu called WTF with Baron. How did that come about? And let's talk about the hard to guard and slick partnership that's about to happen. But before that, let's talk about the Hulu show.
Yeah, man, the Hulu show was just just me, just fucking around, being BD, thinking of some funny shit to do, and rarely do people kind of poke fun of themselves and of other people. So, big fan of Curb, big fan of, TV. So I wanted to create my own version of Curb Your Enthusiasm, from my point of view. And, I just think this show is just gonna get worse. So if you've seen the show and you like the show, like, my whole point, my whole motivation behind the show is, when girls see me in public, I want them to like trip me and hit me. You know what I mean? When dudes see me, I want them to um, shout out, fuck you, Baron Davis in the airport like people do. I mean, it's a fun show. I think it's interactive, but it's fun when you have fans that walk up to you in the airport and they can't say anything, and you're like, all right, they must be basketball fans. And then you walk about 50 yards past them and they shout, fuck you, Baron Davis. And you turn around and you're like, oh, thank you, thank you. And everybody else in the airport is like, you're such a nice guy. That was such a great response. So it's really like, I think the whole show is just an inside joke, right? And if you're a part of the show and if you like the show, it's really just like an inside joke on culture. And the different things that, I'll just be cooking up. And then hard to guard. I mean, shit, I'm waiting, dog. I'm waiting. You know what I mean? I'm waiting. I mean, what else do I need to say?
Yeah.
I think that's for you to talk, bro.
Yeah. So me and Barry are talking about like all the footage that I have doing a collaboration because he has a brand new company that called Slick, and he's actually giving power back to the creators, and he's building a huge platform that's officially I think is going to be open starting in February, right? February, March.
Yep, March.
Yeah.
March, the platform will be launched, and man, you know how I feel about you, Ed. Like you are, and I think the thing about Slick is sports lifestyle inside culture. The eye is so important because it's the insiders, and you're a cultural insider. You know what I mean? You've had footage from all the big cultural moments. You know what I mean? In our history, in this whole basketball, hip hop, like people are using this word culture and don't even know what it was built on, right? And so Slick is just a platform to align with those insiders, those cultural creators, and then bring that to life, right? Why can't we have the quality? Why can't we have the premium network, right? Why can't we collaborate, right, to uplift the people who have, the chops? And so that's what Slick is built for. It's a trampoline for creators to have success, in longer format content.
Baron, it seems like you're having a lot of fun post NBA career. Do you get as much satisfaction from doing all of these different projects? And are you as competitive in these projects as you were as a basketball player?
I mean, if I got a trial for the Knicks or like a 10-day, you know what I'm saying? I would put all this shit down.
We would advocate for you to get a 10-day contract if you need
Thank
it.
you, man. And I'll take it at the end of the year, closer to when the Knicks make a playoff run. That's my prediction.
And what are the last things like? What do you think about the whole Harden trade to the Nets?
Oh, damn, that's gonna be interesting, man. I think, Houston. When you look at what Houston got out of it, they got a lot. You know what I mean? And I think that the Nets and Coach Steve Nash. You got three superstars, and they're gonna have an opportunity to figure each other out. You know what I mean? That's what superstars do. So somebody is going to have to complement somebody, and they're all going to have to work in this, this as this triangle of thinking, right, to bring out the best in each other. But I think anytime that you have the three most unstoppable people in the league, you know what I mean, on the same team, and the three most hardest to guard individual breakdown guys, at the end of the game, if you watch any finals, it all comes down to one on one, right? And if you've seen Harden in his career in Houston, he would, you know, that style would wear him down because he had to do it all the time, and in the playoffs, it's just a different beast. And so now, with him and with KD, and KD coming off an injury, and Kyrie coming back, and you have three guys that can ultimately complement each other, and a good point in their career too.
Baron, that's the big conversation too when it comes to Harden. I mean, obviously, the 40-point games, and he's so efficient as a scorer. But when it comes to the postseason, he's just been a guy that seems to disappear in crunch time. That's not been the case with both, these two finals heroes and Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Is it possible, though, that this could just explode because Harden might have a hard time being the third guy? I mean, he's not been the third guy probably since those OKC days.
Yeah, well, one, I think you're absolutely wrong when you say that he choked in the playoffs. If you watch, you know what I mean? One, you got to be a little bit closer to the action in your TV. And then you have to understand that, this guy has made it through rounds. playing the style that he plays. A whole season and rounds and double teams and triple teams. And so at some point, right, it's going to wear on you when you play that style, right? Putting him in a situation, there is no third option. You know what I mean? There is no third. They're all ones, right? They're all one options. And when you talk about one of the best playmakers in the game, outside of one of the best scorers in the game, is James Harden.
I agree.
So when you got James Harden going downhill, you got Kyrie going downhill, you got Kevin Durant outside, you got Kyrie going downhill, you got James Harden and Kevin Durant outside. I mean, it's really, my whole thing is it's up to them, right? They have to figure out, what is that? How do they become the leaders and the masters, of the game by including their teammates and letting their teammates be, the gold, kind of like the golden force, right? That makes it easier for them. And so it's still, you still have 3 guys, but you still need 5 to play, right? And you need a lot more than that to support you and to have a team. So it's really going to display in their leadership, I think, not so much in who scores what. It's going to be in their ability to co-create for each other, for themselves, and figure out what their game is. But when you look at, those 3 guys, they're prolific, they're superstars, they're Olympians. And so, they ask for this and they're going to, try their best to make it work.
So you think the postseason criticism for Harden is a bit unfair?
Well, I think for you to say it, Bobby, is unfair because you watch it on TV. You know what I mean? And so
you watch it on TV. I would like to be James Harden if I could be.
I'm not saying, it's your opinion, Bobby. You know what I mean? But you watch it on TV. You know what I mean? Like you ain't putting no effort. You ain't sweating. All you doing is going to go get a beer and coming back. So the moments you miss, you know what I mean? and half the time you're drunk, right? I cannot allow you to get away with that comment without defending my homeboy.
Nah, listen,
Is this because you got
I wore a James Harden hat for episode 1 before he was a Brooklyn Net. But at the same time, again, as someone that's watched the games, from my media seat, you make that point, Barrett, but from my media seat, Harden has been such a great regular season player. But the knock on him has often been that come crunch time, come the postseason, they haven't been able to win a championship because, the style of play.
Championships are hard to win. There can only be one person, one team that wins a championship. So that does not mean that you're not clutch. You know what I mean? That does not, that has nothing to do with it, right? When you look at the style and you look at the way he played, right? Eventually you're going to wear down, right? If you don't have the right system or the right adjustments or the right teammates, or you know what I mean? It's more than being clutch, hitting a shot. You understand what I'm saying? It's more than that. It's his force, right? The playoffs are different. You know what I'm saying? And so each game is a playoff game within itself. Each series is a different adjustment in a different series. And so at some point, right, it's like they were close. They damn near got over the hump. You know what I mean? And getting over the hump was just making it to another round, right? So, I really say like he needs the right other people around, right? And it needs to be the right system. And then judge somebody when, they're not getting double and triple teamed, for 82 games in every playoff game.
Well, before I go to grab a beer and let you go for the evening, Aaron, I wanted to ask you one more question.
You don't even drink beer.
I don't drink beer, actually. I have water in this mug.
Yeah, or diet Sprite. Get out of here. You don't drink no beer. Look
Hey,
at that.
Baron, I got to jump in quick.
Look at that. You got gold curtains, man. You don't drink beer. Lord have mercy. What you over there? Where you over there?
It's step in the arena, Baron. It's step in the arena. You got the curtain. Step in the arena.
Damn, boy.
Hey,
You
Baron,
got the damn, you got the chiffon gold curtains.
Hey, Baron, I don't know if we can talk about
I'm thinking you're going to pull back the curtains. It's going to be Star Wars in the back, huh?
Hey, Baron, I don't know if we can talk about it, but there was like talk last week all over social media about you and Master P partnering up, getting Reebok. Do you want to talk about that?
I told you don't ask me that question, Ed.
Okay. All right. You didn't ask
you don't ask me that question. We came on the show, man. You see how
no, you actually didn't. You actually didn't tell me that.
Baron, can I ask you another player-related question since you've already James Harden?
No, I'm about to answer that. I'm just teasing. I think really when you look at Reebok, it's a legacy brand. When you look at where we are as a culture and where our spending power is in a culture and a sneaker culture, just what we talked about and just what I talked about before, I think the opportunity is, if the opportunity is there, the opportunity should be an opportunity for us. And, we want to put together the right team and, put our names in the hat. So that's it.
I'm putting my bid in to be senior vice president. So let me know.
What you got, Bobby? You got
I was going to ask you earlier in the show before you came on and made some negative comments about my curtains. Ed and I were talking about NBA Rookie of the Year contest so far through the first dozen games. And we were talking a little bit about LaMelo Ball. So I was kind of wanted to gauge your interest in what you think of him as a player, since you also played for the Hornets and were a point guard and had success there. Was curious what you think about him.
Yeah, number 3 pick out of Los Angeles. I just think
sounds familiar.
Sounds super familiar. I'm just a fan. I'm a fan of his as a person, as a player, of his growth and what he will be. I think he's a superstar. I think he's a rock star, and I think his best is yet to come. I actually think this whole rookie class is going to be a class that we talk about for the ages, because there's some really, really, really talented kids that are going to shine. And, some really good finds by these NBA guys when you look at, just the future of the league and, some of these young guys that are that have been drafted and coming up in their second and third year.
Oh, I agree with you on that, and so do my curtains too, Baron.
Man, your curtains. Back to your curtains.
You couldn't make a comment about my Walt Clyde Frazier jersey.
No,
about my curtains.
I mean, you got the gold curtains, dog. You got gold curtains. I wonder what's behind the gold curtains.
Well, it might surprise you, but windows.
Man, we appreciate you.
Let's be on.
Appreciate you taking the time, Baron.
Baron,
thank you, guys.
I'm waiting
I'll never diss James Harden again, I promise.
No, you good.
I'm waiting on to send me an email.
All right, done. Say less.
All right. Later.
Well, Ed, that was extremely eventful. Our first guest of the evening, Baron Davis.